Hey, Kevin here, and we just thought we'd give you a little update on what's going on this project. It's been a crazy few months. I think we got this about July, if I remember right. We found the property in July, and by the time we actually took possession, we were into August, and then we started doing some clearing in here and trying to kind of get a feel for the property, and we knew we were up against the gun as far as trying to get infrastructure and trying to get something going in here before the weather closed in on us. Well, now we're at November 29th, and you can see there's snow on the ground. We had a crazy mid-October snow, which was record-breaking. Never have snow like that. We had a foot plus of snow come in here, which again stopped us in our tracks. 2020 has been a crazy year to try to build a tiny house on a piece of property, but a lot of people are trying to get out of the cities and out into the country and doing just that. There's an awful lot of building and going on, a lot of property being bought, and it's been a very challenging year, so we thought we'd just share and kind of get sort of real time to where we're at right now. We're skipping ahead to kind of the good part, I guess, if you will, because we got the house started here, and we just thought we'd kind of tell you a little bit about the trials and tribulations and show you where we're at this point. We'll catch up some of the other video footage a little later, but we thought we'd just jump ahead here for a minute and tell you what's been going on. So we built this, which is a 12 by 16 tiny house with a really tall gambrel roof, and there's a loft in here, and we're going to show you that in a minute. And this is our sort of our temporary dwelling to get us through while we're building our bigger house next year. And so we were again trying to beat the weather on this, and it's been one thing after another. We found out that we were going to have to spend a lot more money on power to get power in here. I am standing at the end of about a 420-foot long driveway from the road in front of the property up to where we're at. And we had to bring power all the way up here. We had to bring water all the way up here. We had to find a driller to drill us a well, which took time because we had to get on lists, and there was so much catch-up going on in this year because of the setbacks from the pandemic and everything, and so it just threw everybody farther and farther behind. It's made it hard to get building materials. It's been hard to get subcontractors out here to get some of this work done because they've all been busy, and so we're hoping to get some rock on our driveway the first part of next week. Still don't have our power hooked up, but we did get our ditches shut, so the ground is frozen right now. Yesterday we were shoving all the dirt back into these ditches where all our plumbing and power is going back and forth out here trying to get this buttoned up. It's been crazy. Let's go take a look inside. So we've got a shell. That's about where we're at right now. We're closed in for the weather, and we still don't have power or water yet, so we have to still build a well house out here, but we got all the power and the water lines and everything in to the ground. And in this country we have to have our water lines about 3.5 to 4 feet deep so they don't freeze, and so we had to dig a long deep ditch and get all that put in. And then the inspectors are so far behind on electrical that we sat for a week waiting, and then we finally called them up and said, hey, if we don't get an inspection, our ground's going to freeze up and we won't be able to bury these ditches back in. So they allowed us to take pictures showing that we had conduit, that's what they were interested in, and go ahead and bury those in. So we're still waiting for our inspection on our meter base for our power, which probably is going to be another week at least, and then hopefully we'll have some power out here, and it'll make it a lot easier for us to get some things done. So all this was built on either battery operated tools, or for a little bit we had a generator out here so we could use some electrical tools, and we used a compressor and an air nailer for a while to try to speed things up. But we hand built all the trusses right here and built the entire place on site without our having a regular power supply, if you will. And so we made some interesting features that you'll notice. This is about 200 square feet main floor. and a half again as much, so we're just under 300 square feet with the loft. The loft is 8 by 12, halfway across the building, and that's going to be the bedroom. And then we have a very compact little bathroom here that we framed up the other day, which a big chunk of it is the shower. And so we are going to have a shower on a gray water system. We don't have a septic up here. And then we're going to have a little composting toilet over here in the corner. And we got a 2-foot wide doorway, which I can just step through. Actually, I won't when the door is in here, it's not going to be that wide. I'll have to turn sideways to get in and out. So we're going to get that done. We're going to start putting all of our electrical in. And our kitchens, this is going to be our kitchen. So I roughed in the gray water pipe coming across. We built the shower pan up off the floor because our floor is insulated and it has plywood on the back side underneath to keep out critters and keep it weather tight. And then our floor sheeting up here, and I didn't want to go through that. And so I just decided to run it right out the side of the wall here at the bottom of the plate. And so the water we can run our shower, it'll run right out into a little pit, which is what we used to do all the time back in the day before septic systems. Everybody had a little gray water pit full of rock, and then all your wastewater, not your toilet, but your sinks and shower would just go out into that pit and then go down into the ground. So that's no big deal. Little stub out right here so we can come over, we'll have a kitchen sink. We'll put in as much counter space as we can. We're going to get a little refrigerator. What was that, like 10 cubic feet? A little 10 cubic foot refrigerator about this tall. Funny enough, when we were in Costa Rica, that's what they all had. I think they were just these little 2-foot by 5-foot fridges that were in all the little houses we stayed in Costa Rica, and that was more than enough for those guys. And so anyway, because we're in a very small space, we put in some pretty good sized windows. There's windows on every wall. I know you don't see one there, but there's one upstairs that's going to get put in. And that way we got heat, light, ventilation control through that process. This is a 4-season climate. You need heat here in the winter, and you want air conditioning in the summer when it gets hot enough. It'll be interesting here because we're in the trees, and so it's typically cooler here and shadier, and so in the summer that'll be great. In the winter it just feels a lot colder and darker, but we're going to be working on thinning the trees out. So let's take a look up in the loft. I think you'll get a kick out of that. So I just want to put this tape measure up here up to the top of the truss peak right here so you can see it's almost 65 inches, so about 5'3", 5'4", somewhere, so maybe almost 5'5", I guess. So Anissa can stand up if she stands right at the middle of the floor here. I cannot, because that's another foot plus before I can get up there. So, but there's a lot of space up there, about 100 square feet, 8 by 12, so it's about the size of a regular bedroom, just not as tall. And so, but the nice thing about the gamma wall, the way we framed it out, we made good use of that roof line as a tall sidewall, and so that gives you a lot more space up there and makes this building feel bigger overall when you're standing down here and you kind of got a cathedral ceiling, if you will. We built this thing like a little brick outhouse. It is all 2x6 construction, all of framing, and 2 reasons. 1, we wanted it sturdy, and 2, that gives us a lot of room for insulation, so we can put an R21 batt insulation in the ceilings and walls, which will make this real nice and comfy. We got the floor already insulated to R21, and so this thing will be super easy to keep warm. We're just going to have a little electric heater in here. Okay, so you've seen the bedroom, you've seen the bathroom, and you've seen the kitchen. Now I'm standing in the living room / office, and so we're going to have a 2x4 desk right over here, standing desk that Anissa likes to use, and that's going to be our office area. And we got our power right here. We got a big full-size front door. We're going to put in another little shorty loft right here. Going to be about 2 feet wide across here. We're going to We got a lot of plants at the other house, and we want to put those up here so that we can have them, and they're out of the way. I'm going to hang a couple of lights. You can see I've got an outlet box up there, so we'll put our light up there for that. The living room is right here. We measured and we made sure that our little couch will fit right across here underneath this window. And we had some pretty good sized windows. That's a 4 foot by 6 foot window, and this is a 3 by 4 window. And that gives us a lot of light, and it makes it feel bigger in here, I think, because we've got that outdoor, indoor kind of vibe going on. And you know, great views. I mean, you can't see through the windows right now because of the frost. But when we get this thing all finished up and insulated, that won't work, that won't happen. And we have this beautiful view out this way through the trees and down that way through the trees, and we'll be able to watch the wildlife. We've seen a lot of wildlife coming and going out here already. Latest thing was a snowshoe hare. We saw a lot of deer up here. We've got raccoon, we've got tons of squirrels. The neighbors tell us there's all kinds of other stuff. I did see some quail down at the bottom of the hill out here earlier today, so that was kind of cool. Saw some grouse, which is neat. Turkeys, we got turkeys. So it's kind of cool. We'll have all that right there, kind of. This is our, you know, panorama land right here between these two big windows. Got a window in the kitchen. We're going to put our TV on this wall, which is the back side of the bathroom wall here. So we'll put that up here and probably have some sort of a little, I don't know, entertainment center slash bookshelf, I don't know, sort of multi-purpose thing. And our heater will be sitting right over here. And so we should have plenty of, should be cozy, tight for sure. But this will be a great experiment because this is actually bigger than the RV we stayed in for 2 years. Space-wise, or right about the same, I guess. A little bit different layout, obviously with the loft. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be kind of an interesting experience slash experiment. But bottom line is we've had our struggles with this project, just setbacks and missed out deadlines, material difficulties getting materials. We had to drive an hour one way the other day just to get a piece of conduit, the right code, so that we could put our power together outside, because they didn't have any in the local stores. It's just really tough. You walk in the stores, you never know if they're going to have what you need or when they're going to get it again, and they don't either. And so we order, we have to kind of do a little bit of MacGyver and a little bit of pivoting back and forth between what works and what we can work with, and just do the best we can in the circumstances to get where we're trying to go. But our next step basically is we're going to start pulling all the electrical wiring through the building and the plumbing, so we can get all that all roughed in, and then we can insulate, and that'll be a big deal. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll have some power, at least an extension cord's worth, which will give us the ability to have some light, run some tools, keep the heat on. But it's been challenging for sure. Anything else you thinking, Anissa, that I'm missing on my conversation here? Okay, so just giving you an update. You can kind of see what we're doing. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep watching the ongoing adventures of us building this house in freezing weather now, because it's right at the end of November. We're going into winter. I'm hoping we have a well house to build. We're trying to get that done, but we got all the power lines and water lines back in and ditched and covered up, so they're done for the winter. Then the ground froze over, so we're lucky we got that far. But we're going to put a little 8x8 well house over here next to this building, and that'll give us some room for our water and power over there, and maybe a little bit of room for some storage or a little freezer or whatever, so we got a little bit of extra space. So here we are. See you next time.